Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and it is a little bit rough out there. I want to show you what I think is pulling the market down right now. We have a report from Sky News that a judge has ordered the liquidation of Three Arrows Capital. It names Tenero will be handling the auction of the remaining assets. And then we have the article from Forbes. Sam Bankman-Fried warns that crypto exchanges already are secretly insolvent. Well, these kind of headlines don't help the current sentiment. But even among the bad news, take a look at this. We've got PolySign raising $53 million. This is the expansion that is on the custody side of business for institutional investors. And as they say, they have a lot of confidence in the future. David Schwartz, the Ripple CTO, will sit on the board. No doubt, the biggest news today is Citadel Securities. The global head of business development, Jamil Nazarali, he's going to move to run a new crypto platform. This is Citadel, this is Virtu, this is Fidelity, and this is Schwab. All four of them coming together to do this joint venture. I'm telling you, this space is going to be massive. And Michael Saylor doesn't want to be left out. He said today that MicroStrategy has purchased an additional 480 Bitcoins for $10 million at an average price of $20,817 per Bitcoin. As of the 28th of June, MicroStrategy holds 129,699 Bitcoins acquired for $3.98 billion at an average price of $30,664 per Bitcoin. Yeah, okay, Michael, we won't forget about you. For the XDC holder, I want to let you know that on July 8th, I'm going to have the CEO and founder of Impel on my channel, and this is a company that provides the financial messaging, which is ISO 20022, for an optional collateral for instant settlement and a bridge to the RC Corda platform for future-facing banks and fintechs. We'll probably do a live demo of an actual ISO 20022 compliant message. Please look forward to that. I'm very excited to have him on. I promised that I would keep an extra eye out on Stellar and also IBM. And I want to tell you that on June 23rd, IBM, the head of digital asset infrastructure, was on this panel, and you'll see exactly what IBM is up to. This is part of their blockchain initiative, which took a big shift in 2021. They are going into the world of Hyperledger Fabric, and providing this digital asset custody is one of the main focuses. Anyway, I'm going to put a link to this video in the description below, and truly you can see exactly what IBM is up to. Now, on the Stellar front, I've got something that came out from the Stellar Dev today, and it's in reference to their integration or partnership with MoneyGram. Have a listen.
He's been involved with many Stellar integrations throughout the years, and most notably the recently launched MoneyGram Access integration. Hey Jake, how's it going?
Good, glad to be here.
One thing that's really important here for folks to understand is that this MoneyGram integration is not about remittances, because a lot of people think about MoneyGram solely in the context of remittances, which are like these bilateral transactions, cross-border payments, where here what MoneyGram is doing is they're utilizing their existing infrastructure, but allowing it to be used as a generalized on and off ramp rather than specific for remittances.
MoneyGram is providing cash out functionality across the globe in pretty much every country you can think of, with some exceptions. And then for cash in, there's at least several handfuls of countries that are being supported today, with many more on the way. And so just from a coverage standpoint, as an exchange or a wallet, you're going to be able to provide a fiat on and off ramp to your users, where you probably couldn't before, or couldn't before with the kind of cost effectiveness that MoneyGram is providing. functionality. So that's primarily the biggest thing. The next thing is that Stellar USDC is a very cost effective form of payment, right? So when you're cashing out, if you're using Ethereum, you're going to have to pay gas fees, right? If you're using Stellar, you're going to have to pay Stellar fees, which are cents. So or even smaller than cents. So it's a pretty compelling argument from a financial standpoint and a coverage standpoint. And then you also kind of get the benefit, and we can talk a little bit more about this, of kind of diving into the interoperability of Stellar, right? So MoneyGram is implementing SEP24, which is a standard protocol for deposits and withdrawals on Stellar. And when you integrate MoneyGram, you're also effectively adding compatibility with other Stellar anchors, and you're basically building a roadmap for integrating other partners as well. So you get a lot more bang for your buck.
To summarize the highlights of understanding Stellar and the MoneyGram integration, this is not about remittances. It's an on-off ramp solution for fiat, mainly now for a cash out functionality globally. And the Stellar USDC is the most cost effective. So this is a stablecoin solution on Stellar rails. Okay, now let's jump to the update about Flare. 3 really important dates here if you are getting the Flare Spark token. July 4th is the audit of the token distribution contract. Then we have July 11th. This is when the mainnet launch will be in observation mode. Keep in mind that there will be no delegation during the observation mode. The observation mode is when it is tested and it becomes fully decentralized. It will last for a minimum of 8 weeks. Until the point at which sufficient validation power has passed from the external validators such that the Flare Foundation is no longer in control of the network. And that means that there is no more than 33% of validation power controlled by Flare. So the earliest that you're going to see the distribution of the FLR token will be September 6th. And then you'll receive that 15% as the initial distribution. Yesterday, I went out to lunch with Moonchaser. We had a wonderful place at a location that she picked out. And we sat for nearly 3 hours and just, did what girls do best, and that is chat it up. So I'm going to let John Deaton take you out on this video. He was on Fox Business News, and he had a very good interview. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.
All right, to say we've hit a rough patch for crypto investors would be an understatement. However, it's got the doubters and naysayers circling like sharks as each day seems to bring more questions and even more bad news. Now, many are saying, hey, listen, this is just part of the curve. It's only natural when you have something like this, something revolutionary like this. But there are still some issues, including legal issues, that feel like a whirlwind, not sure just yet. Joining me now, law founder, John Denton, and I want to start with the SEC chair. Yesterday or this week, Gary Gensler, he made some comments, and some aren't sure where he's putting Bitcoin, for instance. Did he say Bitcoin was a commodity? Is it a security? And where does that leave the rest of these cryptos?
But Charles, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Gary Gensler came out and finally, after a year, said that Bitcoin is a commodity, but it took him a year to do it. And he didn't comment on any of the other cryptocurrencies. And there's a specific reason for that. He prefers there to be vagueness and regulatory uncertainty, because when there's regulatory uncertainty, it allows him prosecutorial options, right? Because
that gray area.
That gray area.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm on the security side. Believe me, when I first got into business, I found out about the gray area the hard way. Because they're, particularly small, young, and coming into the business, you start a business, and the Wall Street side, there's no, like you said, there's no clear lanes, but they do this deliberately. You think they deliberately leave these gray areas?
Oh, absolutely. Because if you provide guidelines, what do entrepreneurs and companies do, Charles? They meet those guidelines. When you keep it uncertain, it gives you options for him to continue to engage in regulation by enforcement, right? That's how he's doing it. I went on record to say that, to predict that he's going to sue an exchange or two by the end of this year and claim that they're selling unregistered securities other than Bitcoin, but he won't tell you which ones are securities.
Right.
You know, that's the problem.
Right. And it's hard to be ignorant of a law that if the law doesn't exist.
Exactly.
It's like,
Absolutely.
It's one thing to say, okay, I didn't know it was on the books, but it's really despicable.
It's disgusting,
really,
is what it is. He keeps going on record to saying these exchanges are selling securities. And then you ask, well, which ones? And he won't say, because now we know from his comment that you just asked me about, he's going to go with they're all securities except for Bitcoin, which makes this Ripple XRP case extremely important.
I want to get to that in a minute,
Absolutely.
but let me just ask about all of the, seemingly endless bad news.
Yep.
Some are saying, hey, you know what, this is a wild, wild west kind of thing. The opportunities are crazy, but, they're there. And this is almost to be expected in a way it could be a good thing if we get something out of it. Maybe guardrails, maybe some regulations. What do you think?
Well, I think that the house of cards are kind of crashing in because you have some of these companies, they have a business model of crypto lending with using highly leveraged strategies. And they offer these 20% or higher leveraged applications, and they can't meet them. And when you get into an illiquid environment like we have today with raising interest rates, liquidity dries up and the house comes crashing down. And I think that eventually will clean the house.
So where is the Ripple case right now?
Well, the Ripple XRP case, and I'm glad you asked because it's something I'm passionate about. Today, and I want to make sure I get the number right. Today, Charles, we hit 68,250 people from 61 different countries around the world that have joined to fight the SEC in their overreach and government intrusion. And I want to tell you something. There's a couple thousand of them that don't even own XRP. They just feel like you do. It's disgusting of what's happening.
Right. I mean, and by the way, I did see last time, the last time there was anything from the courts that the CEO of Ripple said it had gone, quote, exceedingly well. The notion that so many people want to see this succeed, again, whether you're an investor or not, I think speaks to the idea of freedom, of innovation, of self-determination. And there are a lot of powerful forces out there that don't want to see that happen.
Absolutely. And what I think what's happening is that cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin is one of the few times in history where the individual kind of front run the industry, if you will, and the hedge funds. And personally, I think the Gensler's attack on crypto is to allow the hedge funds and the Wall Streeters to come in, crash the market. They come in and then
by the way, they do that with the stock market all the time. By the way, did you see a guy from Citadel left Citadel to get in the crypto business?
Of course.
Yeah.
The regulators leave and go to crypto too.
All right, John, you've done a great job. Really, so many people look up to you, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you very much. All right.